Here's Brody Brazil.
Okay, not gonna lie, I feel awkward about this already because by this point, you just clicked on the video, you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail, and you're probably wondering, what in the hell is this guy gonna be talking about? So let me actually start this video with time for disclaimers. I wanna get this stuff specifically squared away so that as I explain some things, you know my original intentions here, you know what this is all about, and you also know what this video is precisely not about. Let me start with this. This video, I promise you, is not a flex. No matter how I say it, no matter how I describe it, this is not trying to boast here on a video. I'm explaining the process. I hope you know that about me. I hope you can read that situation. This video is also not to discredit anybody's personal achievements, my own included. I'm not trying to throw that in the garbage or make what some people have done seem like less. That's absolutely not the case. I'm just talking about the overall process. This is not specific to anybody or anything that they put on their resume. I promise you that. I'm not discrediting anybody's achievements. I'm also not trying to take away from the Emmy Awards, the Academy, its members, its personnel. I don't want to take anything away from the process of getting nominated for or winning an Emmy Award. I still think it is tremendously valuable to the television community, especially in terms of maintaining production value in a time where that does get lost on a lot of people. And I will save that for later. I'll explain more of that. So hopefully you know those things right from the get-go here of what I'm trying not to do with this video. So what is this video? Hopefully it's my chance to explain a certain mindset and the evolution of thoughts over time regarding personal recognition and maybe specific to the Emmy Awards, because a lot of people in television, they're not afraid to tell you that they've won an Emmy or they've won 5 Emmys or they've won 17 Emmys over the years. But I'm trying to explain how maybe my process in the last 2+ decades of working in this business, how I've changed my thoughts about it just a little bit. So let me actually start with my beginnings, the early 2000s. Look at yours truly, Betacam over my shoulder, a one-person operation there, holding my own microphone, interviewing a softball coach for a high school after their team, I don't know, either just won or lost, probably won a critical softball game. We're going to put this on television in a couple days, but there I am doing my thing. I'm also at the same time trying to grind myself into an on-air role. I am just out of high school. I'm just into college right here, and I'm trying to find a spot in television, and I'm trying to maintain a spot in television. I'm trying to get to the next step, and one thing I quickly realized, if you win an Emmy Award at a young age like this, people are going to take notice. So, among the many things I tried to do, what do you think I really focused in on very hard to win an Emmy Award as soon as possible? And I'm saying, you try and win the award, but you also try and do the really good work that leads you to that award. So it wasn't a bad thing, but I tried for years and years in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. Eventually, in 2004, apparently, I did something that was worthy enough. So that brings us to finally in 2005, recognized with that. That's my very first Emmy, and that was literally a picture from the next day. The 2005 Northern California Emmy Awards. I won it for children's/youth program. It was a segment we used to do called Out of Bounds, focusing on high school athletes and things they overcame to participate in high school sports. Anyway, so that's the first one in 2005. Oh man, what a weight off my shoulders. Now I can say I did it. Great, congratulations. You've got one. Now the hunt is on to get a couple more. All of a sudden there's a little bit of pressure, and then in the next 10 years, I won several more of these. Okay, so I got into it, right? I kind of figured out what the formula was, what resonated with the judging process, and honestly, what was good work, right? That's the natural evolution of somebody in an industry. They kind of figure it out after a couple years. But I tried so hard to get one. Then once that happened, you can see what happened in the next 10 years. And then eventually by 2015, I've got more than a dozen of these. And currently these sit in my home office, just on a shelf. It's kind of out of the way, to be perfectly honest. Most people who would ever come in our house would never even see this. It's kind of tucked away, to be very truthful. It used to be a closet. I took the doors off the closet, put some shelving in there, and now this is where these live, right? So they're around, but I would not say that they're prominent by any means. But after 2015, I stopped entering myself in the Emmys. Now, the process needs to be cleared up here. You enter yourself. If your work is good enough, it's down to being a finalist, meaning you got nominated. And then eventually those nominations lead to usually one or potentially sometimes two winners of different categories. And there's categories that I used to win in, and let me just go back here. Some of these are for editing, some of these are for on-camera work, some of these are for producing, some of them are for hosting, like the on-camera stuff. Anyway, they're all for different things. But yeah, I just decided that I think I'm done. And I didn't even know in the moment why I was done entering, but I just thought, I think I'm not going to do it starting 2016, which is odd because that means after 15 years, I just went cold turkey. So what exactly happened? It took me a year or two to realize why I wanted to stop. And what I did realize is that I was kind of planning my work and segments and things I wanted to do on air around the hopes of them winning an Emmy. Not just because I thought they'd be good for work or good for a show or, they'd be popular or well received. I would literally line up a segment like, hey, let's go fly a blimp around. Hey, let's go do a trampoline or an acrobatic story. And it would be fun and make for good video. And hopefully that would win an Emmy. Instead of, hey, this might be good for our product. I think people would enjoy this. And there was also an aspect of maybe too much emphasis every year, too much personal pressure. That's probably the way I should have stated it, on winning or not winning awards annually, right? Because once you win in 2005, man, it's a letdown if you don't get one in 2006. And then 2007 rolls around and there's the pressure to kind of get back on the horse. This is kind of like sports. It's impossible to win a championship every single year. No team across any sport ever does it. You could do back-to-back. You could do three-peats. You can do four-peats. But 5 years in a row, 7 years in a row, 10 years in a row, it all of a sudden becomes a little bit of personal pressure that, quite honestly, it just felt like I didn't need anymore. But I also have these realizations about the Emmys over the year. Number one, they're a great reminder of the work you've done, the effort you've put in, the blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, honestly, they really do help you remember really good times and something that was successful and something that was critically evaluated by your peers. I also had the realization that after a certain threshold, right? I mean, a certain amount of Emmys, do they hold the same weight? Again, let me go back to my disclaimer. Not a flex here. I promise you that. I'm just saying that at what point does it become an accomplishment to get a couple of these? And then what point does it become excess? Like, this is all you're doing it for? Or is this your goal? Or is it to be really good at what you do? Are you doing this for the recognition? Or are you just doing this to try and create the best product out there? And that's kind of my last point. I feel like they can project on someone. Once you get in the double digits of these things and I'm making this video because not long ago, somebody came up to me and said, oh, 13-time Emmy winner. Oh, you're a big deal. And I'm like, no, I'm really not. I promise you I'm not. I've tried hard over the years. I've been around this stuff for a very long time. I've got lucky quite a bit. I do work hard, yeah, but I don't want that to be projected on me. And I don't know if they'd say the same thing if there were just one or two instead of, 13. So those are my realizations, and the way I equate this is kind of like an athlete. I mean, the stats on the back of an athlete's trading card, they speak volumes. What they did in one season, what they've done over 10 seasons, who they are as a player, their productivity is measured right there on the back of a trading card. I guess nowadays on the website Baseball Reference or Hockey Reference or Football Reference, you understand what I'm saying. The stats speak for themselves. Players don't go around showing people the back of their trading cards. Hey, look at me. Look at me. But I do feel like that element sometimes does exist in our media landscape. Hey, look at me. Look at me. Look what I do. Look what I do. Look how many awards I have. And that's why, quite honestly, you'll never really hear me talking about winning Emmys in any serious way in any public setting because it's not really there for the conversation. It's not productive to most any conversation I will ever have. So look, to sum all this up, and I know maybe I've been a little bit negative about the process, why I backed out. Hopefully some of this makes sense. But I still very much believe that the process of Emmy Awards at the regional level for productions of local stations and networks and different companies, the process is still so valuable, especially when you're young, you're getting into this, you're trying to get feedback. Did it resonate with others, with your peers? This is how the Emmys are voted on, by peers in different regions across the country. They're going to look at your work. They do not know you. They're only going to judge you by your work. What do they think of it? Are you among the finalists? Are you a winner in a certain category of sports or entertainment or news or weathercaster? There's all the different categories for shows, for segments, for overall excellence. The process is still valuable. I'm not going to take that away. Even though I've removed myself from it, the process is valuable, and I still think, like me, in the early 2000s, when you're young and when you're coming up, it does mean a lot on your resume to have that. And not just to have it as part of a big production, but if you individually get something for your craft, it's a compilation of your best editing, your best producing, your best hosting, your best videography, whatever it is, that means a lot on your resume that you alone were worthy of this recognition. And then lastly, I still believe that production value across television in the last 10 years, it's slipped. And especially with Zoom across the last few years, it's so easy to put somebody up on a webcam, bad audio, bad video. Hopefully they said something interesting because the quality has degraded and we're in a rush. Who cares how it looks? I don't even care if there's an echo in the room look at this home studio. I put so much work into production value, how it looks, how it sounds, so that you can enjoy it. TV across the board, it hasn't lost it entirely, but it has slipped across the last 10 years. Production value is maybe half of what it used to be, let's say in the 80s or even the 90s. I don't care what it looks like, just get it on the air. Graphics, wrong information, so long as it was on and nobody died, we're good. That's a lot of times the approach. The Emmys are the complete opposite of that. They honor production value across the board. So my conclusion on this, and I've probably gone too long already. This is a photo of 2015, the last time I won anything. Maybe it's the last time, maybe not. I honestly do not know. Maybe in another 5 years, I'll be re-inspired, reinvigorated. It'll mean more to me to do something, or I'll feel that strongly about the work that I've done that I think others should see it and I think it'd be valuable. Whether it's an individual project or a team effort, maybe that right there was the last time, but maybe not. I just don't know. I can't predict the future. I think that would be wrong of me to do. I'm only trying to look back now at the last, 22 years of all this. Anyway, I hope some of that made sense. It's very personal to me. I hope that I spelled it out in a proper way so that you can understand. And hopefully those disclaimers at the beginning really set the right tone. All right. Thanks for listening to this, and I'll talk to you next time.